What's up, guys? Welcome to the Top Shelf Show. My name is Dustin Kinnan. We are so excited to have you here. On this show, we talk to high-quality entrepreneurs and business owners about life, about family, about work, about goals and dreams and everything that goes into being an entrepreneur. We are so excited to have you here. We hope you walk away with some incredible insight into their lives and their stories and some inspiration for your business and your brand and achieving the goals that you have for your life. Thank you so much for checking it out, and we'll see you in there.
Well, guys, welcome to the Top Shelf Show. Today, we have the owner of EcoBlast with us, Josh Kelly. I'm going to let you kind of get into you and EcoBlast and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, guys, welcome to the show. And tell me about yourself. Like, just you, EcoBlast, what should the people know?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dustin, for having me. So I own EcoBlast Pressure Washing. So we started this early in 2024. I had owned two businesses before that. We had done wholesaling and real estate for quite a while, and it worked out well for us. We did pretty good. And then we moved into the commercial side, and it was a big eye-opener. We had a lot of stuff going on during that time that it was just too much stress. And I was really just trying to figure out what I wanted to do moving forward. And I was like, this isn't it. Yeah. And so I decided, like, hey, I want to sit down, make a list of things that I enjoy doing. And then we would go from there to figure out what we can narrow it down to what we're going to do. And so pressure washing was something that I kind of always loved doing. I've had other times that I've done it. I really enjoyed it. It's like a satisfaction, right?
Yeah.
Watching something be clean. Seeing that finished product and providing something to a client that they could really be proud of. Yeah. So we come up with the idea to do EcoBlast, and our goal was at the time is what could we do to be different, right? Like, how could we stand out, because there's thousands of pressure washers. So what can we do to be different from everybody else? And so one of the things that we decided to do was really have a pretty good selection of eco-friendly lines. Okay. And it was just really based on the fact of me and my wife both had a lot of health problems. And at one point, I had pretty bad health problems that doctors said would never get better. And I ended up getting all those things better at one time, really just focused on what I eat and what I did. And it kind of drove that with my business on the eco side. And so when we opened up the business, that was one of the first things that we wanted to do, was make sure that we give people that option of having like that clean environment, right? Yeah. Because there was a niche there for it, because there was not a lot of people offering it. And so one of my biggest things was also like pretty much building a business for my kids, right? Like, you really want to build something that you could leave them and that they could grow even more one day if they wanted to. Yeah. And I had worked in a corporate setting before. I started low and was moving up, and I saw how the corporate world kind of did with their employees, and I didn't like the way that the morale was in the corporate setting. Yeah. So one of the biggest things for me was with growing EcoBlast is that I made my employees part of my company, that I wasn't growing the business, we were growing the business.
Like they actually own part of the...
Yeah, so giving them some kind of incentives, right? Whether that's future maybe percent of ownership, or where we're paying percentage of work that might be above what you would make at a normal level with other companies. Yeah. And just really driving that morale at work, because I didn't want people to be at my company for a year. I want people to last a lifetime. I want the guy that starts out pressure washing to be able to be the guy that has that sales ability in him that nobody sees and we can see, and we can move him up in the company and make a wonderful life for him and his family. Yeah. So it's really about not just growing me, but growing other people within my business around me.
I love that, dude. Well, and like, I feel like there's so much there. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're going to circle back to the family and the legacy aspect of that, because I think that's one of the biggest things, just why people get into business, is like they want to be able to build something for themselves and their families. Whereas when you're working that corporate life and you're, like the joke is, like business owners make terrible employees, right? Yeah. And which is very, very true, by the way.
Very.
But you want, like, I feel like that's the biggest there's other things, sure, but that's always one of the biggest reasons why people start a business is because they want to build it for themselves, build it for their families. They want that freedom to be able to really like make something that's going to be theirs, but also pass down. Whereas you can't really pass down your job. Like, okay, well, I'm retiring. Here's my son. He's going to take my spot. Like that doesn't happen,
true.
you know? With the employees though, that's incredible. Like wanting them to have that ownership in it, and not like, hey guys, like we're all a team and we're a family and you should care about this too, but like really giving them a reason to feel that ownership. You know what I mean? Where it's not like, I don't know, it's not just like pretty words. It's like, hey, like, no, hey, here's ownership. Hey, here's this, like I said, percentage above like what they're going to make somewhere else. Like here's this very real reason, to care, you know what I mean? Like outside of just, wanting to do your job and stuff, like here's this very real reason of like, hey, this is why if this thing grows, like it's going to benefit you too. I love that, dude. Now did you, when you worked in corporate, right? So you did real estate, and then was there a different, corporate experience, or was it mostly like real estate?
No, it was before real estate.
Okay.
So I was a mechanic for like 10 years, and it was a corporation. They got bought out, and
Gotcha.
I started moving up, right? And it was to a point where they were going to bring me in on the corporate side through one of the guys that I'd met. But on the back end, I started seeing how things were run.
Gotcha.
And it was it's like a ant colony, right? Like it's a numbers game, and there was really no employee involvement. And I just didn't like that model. I didn't understand why you couldn't have a successful company and involve everybody that helped you build that successful company.
Yeah. One is like, so this is the and I'm going to butcher. I'm not even going to try to directly quote it because I will butcher it.
Sure.
But so I used to work in a church. I was a creative director at a church for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And one of the things that came up in that, because it was a church plant, we were growing and stuff, was, and I don't even remember who the author was to even really be able to quote it, but the guy was basically talking about like, when they, like some ants, they build the colony, like they build the anthill on the body of dead ants. Like that's part of how the anthill gets built. It's like basically these ants work themselves to death and then they become just a part of the anthill. And like that's part of how it gets built. And they were wanting to avoid that because what they were talking about was like volunteers of like, not like basically working people, like just overworking your volunteers to this point where they burn out, and this church, if you will, this anthill gets built on like the bodies of dead volunteers, which is kind of a gruesome visual. But kind of taking that same idea with like a business, like, you don't want to like you don't want to build the business on the bodies of the dead employees, if you will, or like where like you're just taking advantage of them just to build this thing and like leaving I don't know, it's like leaving them behind, so to speak. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I love that. Okay, well then, and I want to jump over to this because I don't want to forget about it.
Yeah.
The fatherhood aspect, like building it for your family. How many kids do you have? Like, was that always something you wanted to do? Like, tell me more.
So as far as something I always want to do with the fatherhood or the business?
Yes, both.
Both. So yeah, I've always been a horrible employee.
Yeah.
That's just because I've always wanted to do my own thing. Mm-hmm. So it does not pan out well for me to work for other people. And then, so yes, I've always wanted to own my own business. And then fatherhood, 100%, man, I always wanted kids. Yeah. Growing up, that was never nothing that wasn't on my mind. Now that I'm older and had some, I wish I would have had even more. Yeah. Honestly, I love my kids. They are what I do every day. Between them and my wife, I mean, they're very inspirational, and they're behind me and everything. Very supportive. And dude, what more could you ask for? You know.
Yeah. How many kids do you have?
Well, sorry, you asked that question. So 2. I have a son, Grayson, who's 11, and then I have a daughter who is 4. Her name's Sophia.
Yeah. So I feel like that's the like. I don't know. So before we were recording, and then we realized, hey, we should really start recording. This is good stuff. You were asking, or we were talking a little bit of the how it changes you, like with fatherhood. Like we're like before it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'm doing this thing. I'm working maybe you're working a job, own a business, whatever. But then it's like when like the kids step into the picture, then it's like, oh my gosh, like this isn't this thing that I'm building. It's not just mine anymore. It's not just for me. It's not just for my wife. Like it's theirs,
That's right.
Or it could be theirs if they want it to be, and like I think you said earlier, like wanting to be able to build it, or like wanting to be able to build it and grow it, and then like hopefully they take it over one day, you know what I mean? Or like they
100%.
will want to be a part of it with you and stuff. Is it Grayson?
Grayson,
Okay,
that's correct.
now have you just because he's the older one, like does he like pressure washing? Like does he like doing it? Or is he not done it yet? Or?
I haven't let him do that, but what I
Okay.
have let him do is when we put out marketing materials. So we homeschool our kids, and so one of the things that I do is like on the entrepreneur side is I would take him with me to put out flyers, and I would tell him, I'd say, hey, if we get a job, Dad's going to pay you a certain % of that job, right?
Love that.
If it comes from this flyer,
Yeah.
and man, he'd be like so excited, like let's go
Yeah.
put out flyers today, because he'd be making more money doing that, and then there's allowance. So it's kind of like we're trying to teach them that if you want to work for somebody, that is perfectly okay. Like that, as long as you love what you do. But we also like them to see, like my wife also owns a business of, look, you can do your own thing too, right? And letting them grow up in that world, because me and her, we really didn't grow up in an area where our family built real good businesses. Her dad, he does good with his AC, but nobody really built like really big things.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's so funny because I'm actually I just finished a book today called From the Trash Man to the Cash Man by Myron Golden.
Nice.
And one of the things that he kind of talks in about it, and it is like these things that keep people poor, basically, like these kind of like things to kind of avoid. Have you read it?
No, I have not.
Oh, okay.
But I've heard about it, and now I've got to
great. Well,
read
if you
it.
need to borrow it,
because
let me know.
Second one that's told me about it.
One of the things he talks about is like these things that keep poor people poor, right?
Sure.
To avoid, right? And one of the two things that like in there that I think were the biggest is like the difference between like formal education and a self-education of like going to school, and like how school doesn't really, which as a product of the public school system, I firsthand will tell you, it does not set you up for success. It sets you up to like go work somewhere. And then it's very much I was one of those kids in math class that was like, why are we learning this? Because I'm never going to use this. Sure enough. You know what I mean? Like I mean, basic arithmetic, yes, obviously, but like all the algebra and all the, I couldn't tell you, and it's never come up in my life, you know?
For sure.
But it talk about the difference of that. Like you can't just, like a formal education, if you will, like high school and college and whatever, like it's good for some things, but like it's not, for most people, they don't need it. And it's just kind of a waste of time, and it's not really going to set them up for success. But then even if you do those things, like there's still this whole wide world of like that. He talks about like self-education of reading books and audio courses and seminars and like continuing to like learn and grow and develop in areas.
Right.
That you're not, that people aren't just going to hand you those things. You got to go and kind of find them, right? And go and like really be intentional with it. Ollie is 14 months old, so we're not there yet. But that's actually something we've kind of talked about with like homeschooling. Like one of my wife was homeschooled, so like she had a great experience with it.
Sure.
But that's one of the biggest things I think for me of like why I am. If we can do it, I want to homeschool our kids, because I feel like the experience that Grayson and Sophia. Like I feel like the experience that like Grayson and Sophia are getting is so much better. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna like, even if he doesn't do Eco Blast, right? Like even if they decide to go do something else,
100%.
like setting your son up with like instilling in him this like, hey, not just like, hey, you could go make more money than your allowance, but like, hey man, you could go and, you know, put out these flyers, or you could go do this other thing that you really love, or you go whatever, but that possibility is there. You know what I mean?
That's right, man. Building possibility. That's what it boils down to. Is it doesn't matter about the money aspect. It's about building something in him that's just like at school when they're teaching you algebra, they're teaching you those things. This is teaching him a skill that he don't learn unless somebody teaches him. And so some say it's like, oh, he can make some money doing flyers, but I see it as I'm teaching him a valuable sales opportunity that would take him years to learn in a job.
Yeah. Well, and that's, and like what the thing is there's no, I would say there's no guarantee, because at some point he might, there's a fairly good chance that he would like learn that skill. Yeah. But the fact that he's getting like set up with that skill at 11 years old, you know what I mean?
100%.
And I feel like there's also like, there's a, it's just cool being able to like have them be a part of what you do, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, so Ollie's 14 months old, so he doesn't do much right now. But one of my favorite things. So typically, I take him to daycare in the morning, and they have a like a fob system to like get back to like classrooms and stuff. And it's like one of my favorite things with him every morning, because basically, so every morning we get out of the car and I hand him my keys. So he's 14 months old, but he gets so excited when I hand him the keys, because he knows like, okay, I mean, I don't know that he could articulate that. Well, he can't talk anyway, but I don't know that he would be like, I'm doing this thing to be a part of this thing that we're doing. Right. But he gets really excited because he gets to hold the keys, and then like we go inside, and then I basically like, I'm kind of helping position him to position the fob to like do the door, but he like, yep, I get to hold the keys, and then he like we'll go inside, and he knows like, okay, cool, like I don't know why, but I'm putting these keys down here because this is just part of what we do every morning. But like being able to like give them like that ownership and like be able to like, I forget where I read it, but it was something like, you know, kids just want to be a part of what you're doing. Like they don't necessarily care about the toys and the whatever. Like they just want to be with mom and dad. They just want to be a part of your world, you know? That's dope, dude. And like I love the perspective you have on it with Grayson. And Sophia, but Grayson, because he's the guy doing the marketing right now.
Right.
Like I love that. Like the perspective with him is it's not like, all right, son, we're going to teach you how to do the flyers, and then we're going to teach you how to pressure wash, and we're going to teach you how to do this and this and this. And one day you're taking over EcoBlast. It's like,
that's right, man.
Nah, dude. Like we're going to like have you involved, have you be a part of this. And if you want to do it, cool. Awesome. But also, if you don't, I'm going to invest in you in these skills, and then like you go live your life and have fun and do your thing and just whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, man.
I love that, dude. Okay. There's something else I'm going to ask you. So homeschooled. No, were you homeschooled?
No, I wasn't. I was public school all the way through.
Was your wife homeschooled?
No, she wasn't.
Really?
We were both public school.
What made y'all like go homeschooled?
Man, honestly, I just think we didn't like public education. Like I don't feel like they taught the necessity things that we wanted to teach our kids. Yeah. Not that they didn't teach necessity for other people, just for what we wanted. We didn't feel like it gave them the opportunity to grow. Yeah. And we went to a private school, and that was really our first integration of kind of figuring out we want to homeschool, is because they talked about teaching the kid on their level and not on some curriculum. Yeah. And that really inspired us to do that with ours. It's just because we wanted to inspire them to be who they wanted to be, not beat in their head who they should be.
Well, and like being able, like and again, all of my knowledge of homeschooling is very much secondhand from my wife. Sure. But like, I love the personalization of it, of like being able to like, hey, you really like, the example I have always used when I have conversations with people is like, you really like bugs right now, and that's just something you love. Awesome. Yeah. So we're going to do a couple math problems because we got to do the math and get that out of the way. But then like we're going to go in the backyard and we're going to dig up some bugs because that's what you're really interested in right now. And maybe we'll count some bugs because we're learning how to count right now. You know 100%. What I mean? And it's just being able to like you said, on their level specific to them. It's just really intentional. Like it's just I don't know. It's just it's also like, and I think part of it for me is like I didn't have that experience growing up. Like I was public school, well, private for a while and then public, but like not having that experience and then hearing about the experience my wife had, I was like, okay, yeah, like I could see why yours would be kind of appealing. But then there's also like the freedom aspect of it, of like, okay, if they're homeschooled and we want to go, my family lives in Charleston, hers lives in Bluffton, and it's like, oh, we want to go hang out with my family for a week or her family for a week or whatever. Awesome, cool, let's go. You know what I mean? And they can do their homework at the kitchen table. It's fine. That's and just being able to kind of do like what, like I feel like there's be able to do what we want when we want to do it kind of thing that kind of goes fairly hand in hand with the whole like entrepreneur, own a business. It does. Kind of like streak. It does. Well, okay, so if you weren't, so I know you said, this is a bit of a tangent, but I know you said when you were looking at doing EcoBlast, you made a list of like the things you enjoy doing, right? Mm-hmm. If you weren't going to do EcoBlast, like what was the next thing on the list? Like what was on that like list of like things you were like thought you would want to do?
If it wouldn't have been EcoBlast, I would have been so stubborn that I would have just stuck in real estate and hated it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. There was like real estate, EcoBlast, Oh man, I can't even remember what all I'd put on the list at this time because I mean it's been almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
But knowing me, I would have just probably stuck with it and hated it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, and then EcoBlast specifically. So 2 years.
Mhm.
How's that feel? Because I know like the first year is, I don't say you're kind of figuring everything out, but definitely like kind of getting some.
Oh yeah.
Like some like the pieces together and stuff. Like,
Oh yeah.
what's it like being 2 years in?
Now, man, I love it.
Yeah.
I've loved it all along. I've never felt like I felt in real estate, not once in this business, which tells me that I'm on the right track, right? When you get onto something like that, you just kind of know like that this is it.
Yeah.
So obviously first year, I don't even count. That was such a disaster. I don't even want to talk about it, but so many great learning experiences that first year.
Yeah.
And this second year we're going into now, man, I just really love it because we're starting to build our processes and we're getting all of our things dialed in. We know our client base, you know, so all those things when you're first starting out, you just do anything.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter. Where's the next?
Yeah. You're going to pay me? Awesome. Cool.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
That's right. Yeah. Now that we know what we're doing, man, we've really honed in on our clients. We've really got systems starting to run very well. We're building out a lot of internal systems. So this second year has been really, really great for us.
Yeah. So we're talking about like building that's a pretty common theme that I hear from a lot of people is like, it's just as important to work like on the business as it is to work like in the business.
It is.
What, like, how do you feel like your like corporate experience has like played into that on the EcoBlast side of like knowing that like, hey, we need to do these things, we need to build this out. Like, do you feel like that's kind of giving you an edge with it where you knew like, hey, I can't just go pressure wash. Like I've got to build the business too.
Yeah, I think really what that boiled down to was I learned some things from going in there, but more so of that end was just on the employment management side. I really got lucky enough to find a guy that kind of has helped me out along the way. He had built a business like mine, a home service business, and had sold it for I think 8 figures. Oh, and nice. So he's really been good about helping me kind of hone in on those things. Whereas before I was going with no direction, you know what I mean? So I've been fortunate enough to have somebody kind of take me under their wing and kind of show me the ropes. And it's really, really increased my business tremendously. I think we're this year so far like 300% over last year.
Yeah. Dude, coaching, oh my gosh. I started working with a coach in March. Good grief. And what's sad is like, I'm very happy for you that you're doing it at like year 2. Top Shelf's been around since 2018 and I just started working with a coach this year. So like 6-7 years in. Yeah. And it's like, man, that's something I've said like multiple times on this show is like, if you hear nothing else, business owners, get a coach. I don't care what your industry is. I don't care what you do, get a coach because like having somebody who's especially to that, I mean, eight figures, 10 million, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like minimum, right?
Minimum,
like,
that's right.
Like someone who has played the game, especially to that level, like the amount of headache and heartache that they are going to save you is like, oh my gosh.
Bar none.
Whatever they're charging, it's probably not enough. You know what I mean?
Bar none, man. Yeah. And it was the same way. He started out with just him.
Yeah.
Doing it too. And he built it from that, man. And it is invaluable, the amount of knowledge that he bestows upon me for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other thing, so kind of what you said of like, there's never been a day where you didn't love it, right?
That's right.
I feel like even though you love it, there's probably still hard days. Where it's like, man, this kind of sucks, and like I really don't want to. Like, there's stuff you don't want to deal with.
For sure.
But it's like having like the passion for it of like even on the hard days, this is still better than the alternative. Like you would rather nothing else you'd rather do. But then like where the coaching comes in on that is like even on the hard especially on the hard days when it's like you think that you're not making the progress you want to make or that oh my gosh, how the heck are we going to deal with this or whatever, and the coach is on the proverbial sidelines being like, dude, you're fine. It's like you're looking at this and like they're looking at this, so like they're seeing that. But then there are also like, I know for me, like it's like, so my coach's name's Spencer, and on the frustrating days, like being that kind of like voice of optimism of like, hey, I know you feel like everything's failing right now, but it's really not, because if you look 3 months ago or whatever, like this is where you were and this is where you are now. And like, so perspective is a really, really beautiful thing, you know? Well, then, okay. So, with EcoBlast, like, did you, now is it just you with EcoBlast right now, or like, is it?
No, so
how big is it scaled, I guess?
So I have another guy with me now. It's actually a family member that works with me now, and so this has really helped me out a lot because I've been able to bring him in the business and get him trained up, and now I'm able to go to networking events, or I'm able to go out and
on
get
podcasts
on podcasts or go out and get more customers. And I've seen such a large increase of percentage of our year over year because of that. Yeah. And so I think he started with me in April of this year. So we were in business for a year, I think, right? A little less than a year, and then he started with me. And it's been great, man. It's really allowed me to hone in and grow some for sure. And so by next year, I plan to have another guy start spring and fully be off of the truck and only focusing on growing and scaling the business, because it's not something I'm looking to just do locally.
Yeah. So what is the vision for EcoBlast? Just not locally, like, are you statewide? Like, what's the how big you want to take this thing, man?
Nationwide.
Okay.
I actually want to. I've had some conversations with some people, and eventually get to a place where we can franchise out and go nationwide with it. That's the ultimate goal at this point.
I love that. Well, like thinking, like kind of connecting the dots there. Like that is so. Like how it's always been described to me is like there's like scarcity mindset or like abundance mindset. Right. And like, especially in business, like people think, or a lot of people fall into the trap of like, oh, there's no way I could ever be, they'll look at the competitor or whoever, like, oh, I can never be that big. I can never do that, whatever. And like, I feel like, and I feel like that actually, this is the longest conversation we've ever had, but like, having that vision for it of like, hey, like, you know, I don't want it just to be this chuck in a truck, just me or maybe me and another guy, whatever. Like, I want to take this thing national. Like, I want it to be like, this is the vision I have for it. This is the dream I have for it. Like, that is just having that, I think does separate and will also separate you from like so many different people in your industry, because you have a vision for what's possible, and you're not allowing like your current circumstances or where the business currently is, you know what I mean, to like dictate that. Like, you're not like, oh, like, well, this is where we are now, so how are we ever going to get past this? You're like, yeah, this is where we are now, but that's where we're going, and that's what I'm going to focus on and build towards and be and like intentional about. You know what I mean? Because it's what well, it's not October yet, September. So October, November, December, January, February, March, April, right? April, yeah. So 7 months. So you're thinking 7 months from now. That's like, right. Hey, I'm gonna bring this other guy in. He's gonna, and I've got the systems, right? Like, we know what we're doing. Plug this guy in. That takes me out of there to be able to go into the business, to be able to do these other things. To like, heck yeah, dude. That's if you want to know how to grow a business, that's how we grow a business. Like, you figure out what works well, how to deliver a great product. You make the systems, and then you just replace yourself, and you kind of just keep scaling it. You know. You should, man, I don't know, man. Like, you should, like, if you don't have a coach, you know, like, you should, talk to somebody.
It's definitely worth it for sure.
Yeah. Well, and then like, if you, like, if you go, like, well, not if, when you go, let's look, when you go national, like when it's
there we
national,
go.
Yeah. When it's, and also, this is a tangent. That's one of the things that I've really learned is like, the power of words. Of like, and that's even something I've like been very intentional with, like Top Shelf, when I talk about like what we're going to do with it and stuff. It's not like, well, if we make it, or if we, it's no, win. It's win. Like, and it's just sure. Like, you don't, I don't know, you're just not willing to, I was talking to my wife the other day about this actually. And she's like, well, like, what if, and not that she doesn't believe in Top Shelf, but you know, it's hard to see sometimes, right? Yeah. It's like, well, like, what if Top Shelf doesn't become $1 million company? Like, what if? And it's like, no, it's a win, you know, like
Mhm.
I can't tell you how long it's going to take, but I know that it's going to happen. And it's like, I feel like just that, having that like confidence and just, determination is probably the best word for it. Like that confidence and determination of like not being willing to accept any other outcome than this. And like, if it takes a year or it takes 10 years or it takes 20 years, like whatever that, hopefully it doesn't take 20 years, but takes, you know, like I would prefer for it not to take 20 years.
Agreed.
You know, but if it does, you know, like whether that's a year, 5, 10, 20 years, like this is going to happen. And like being, and it just, you just don't accept another, you're just not willing to accept another alternative. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's the thing that like, kind of going back to that scarcity mindset, abundance mindset, like the people who operate in the scarcity are like, I don't know, they kind of give themselves an out. Like, well, what if it doesn't happen? Or like, well, if it doesn't work out, then I'm just going to go back to my day job. You know?
That's right.
And I feel like the ones that really make it are the ones that like burn the proverbial ships of like, this is where we're going and this is how it's going to happen. Like this is happening. We're doing this. How exactly we're going to do this, I don't necessarily know yet, but this is happening. And there is no alternative. There is no plan B. There is no like, well, if this doesn't work, I can just go back to the day job. It's no, like, this is what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And I feel like you can't. It's way harder to do that when it's something you're not passionate about. You know what I mean? But like when you love what you do, even on the bad days, it's like, there's nothing else I'd rather do than this. Oh my gosh. Like then it's like, yes. Burn the proverbial ships. Let's go. You know?
Agreed, man. Like in real estate, like I was not like that at all. Like I was just doing it. It was a money thing, but I never felt passion for it. I mean, you get your highs and lows when you get like good deals and stuff, but with this, it's nonstop, man. I know I'm going to get there. It's not a matter of if, it is when we get there. And we have a timeline, and I hope that we'll hit it. And if we don't, that's okay. You know, we'll hit it maybe a little after that, but I think we will.
Yeah. I love that, dude. Well, and then like, what does that mean for you? Now, has that always been the vision for EcoBlast? I know you said you kind of started and then had a coach. Like, is that something you kind of realized in the coaching? Was it something you knew you always wanted for EcoBlast? Like, what's kind of how is that vision for it kind of evolved?
So that's funny because great question, by the way. No, when I first started it, I mean, I knew I wanted my own business and I wanted to make money. And it was during that time of starting up and realizing my capabilities in the company that I reached out to a family member that used to run factories. And I was like, hey, how did y'all grow these businesses, right? And then he put me in touch with another family member, his nephew, through my aunt's side. That was the person that built the company. And he was like, hey, sit down and talk with this guy. But it was at that time that I started seeking out, like, hey, I want something big. I don't want just this. Like, I want to grow this thing. And through him, made the vision more tangible, we'd say. Like before I knew I wanted it, and I knew what it could look like vaguely, but through him, we were able to paint the picture like that as clear as day, right? We were able to sit down and put every brush stroke on paper and be able to actually see. So that coaching was invaluable again, man. It really has changed my business.
Yeah. Well, it's like there's a guy I know, his name's Chris, and he's been on here too, and he you know, which I'm sure he got this from somewhere else, but you know, if you don't, how did he say it? It's like if you don't have there's no way for you to not miss a target you're not aiming at. You know what I mean? There's no way you're going to hit a target you're not, or I guess probably a better way of saying that is there's no way you're going to hit a target you're not aiming at. You know what I mean? And if your target is nothing, then, well, congratulations, you're going to hit nothing, you know?
That's right.
But being able to have like that, like, okay, hey, like this is where we're going. And then this is I think that was the biggest thing for me, when I started in this whole like coaching and personal development and stuff, was like the very big, very scary, like, very like, oh my gosh, how in the world are we going to make this thing happen? Goals, just break them down. Like literally just like, okay, so like that's what we want to do. Awesome. So that's what we want to do. Okay. before we get there, what has to happen first? Cool. What has to happen before that, and before that? And then it kind of like, you take this really big, really scary, I want $1 million company nationwide. I want to do really big, like audacious things. And like, okay, hey, you break it down, and then it becomes like, hey, I just need to sell 2 more jobs next month. Awesome, cool. And then it's the next thing. Okay, hey, now I need to 4 more jobs, or hey, now we need to get this system in place, or hey, how we need to, and then you just, that very small, very consistent work, like that doesn't really seem like it's really adding up or building or whatever. Like it just stack and stack and stack and stack and stack, and then a couple of years go by, and it's like, oh my gosh, like holy crap, like we're so much farther and so much better and so much bigger and whatever the term you want to use than where we were. But it was literally all these little pieces that in the moment didn't seem like they were that big, or seemed like that big of a deal, so what's it going to feel like to be able to hand the proverbial keys to, the national Eco Blast brand, right? Like, what's it going to feel like to hand those keys to Grayson and Sophia? You know what I mean?
I tell you, man, and assuming that's what they want, that is the overall success. That we were able, and not only it was just like us from the ground up. He saw this when it was nothing. Yeah. He gets to see the whole process, and Sophia too. She's 4, so obviously she's not as much involved right now, but. Yeah. To be able, my son seen me at a much different time in my life, and he saw me come from some bad places, man, and to see what I was into that, man, that's the success, right? Yeah. That gives him the opportunity to wake up every day and say, look at what my father did. I can overcome anything too, and at the end of the day, you just want them to be happy. So yeah, that's what it boils down to.
One dude like that. I feel like that, like the business, the money, the whatever, like all of that stuff aside, like being able to like show your kids like what's possible. And it's not like, what I love so much about that is it's not just like, like you can be anything. You can be president when you grow up. You can like, whatever, like not platitudes, but like just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, like statements like that. Like, no, sit down and watch me do this thing. Like watch this thing happen and get a front row seat to not like, because I feel like the version of you that is capable of running a national brand like that, you know what I mean? That's not you right now. Like you're gonna have to grow. You're gonna have to develop. 100%. You know what I mean? And he's gonna get to see like that happen, and then that's gonna, I don't know, that's gonna not say challenge him, but that's gonna be the version of dad that like he gets to grow up with, and he gets to like that's his dad, you know what I mean?
That's right.
And I feel like there's so much value there, just for him and for Sophia and for like, and it's kind of the thing that like I think about like me and Ollie, like that's the so I went through a thing called LEX in December, and it's basically like a personal development event, or not course, but like there's a month long of like assignments you do, and there's like a 2-day event and things like that, and I've been involved with it pretty much since then. And my favorite thing about the timing of it was I went through that. Ollie would have been 5 months ish, something like that, when I went through it. And I love the fact that like Ollie is never going to know a different version of his dad than who I am now, because Dusty a year ago he was a nice guy, but he was kind of a hot mess and like just did not have his stuff together and was not disciplined, and just nice guy, but like we got some work to do, and I still got work to do, but like definitely better than I was a year ago. And it's like I love like just that of like being able to like, hey, like putting it all together, like it's like the legacy that like you leave your kids, like it's not just the business, it's not just the money or the whatever, right? It's that legacy you're leaving them is also like you know what I mean? And like the dad that they got to experience, who yes went and built the business and grew these things and whatever, but it's also the dad that like they got to have as dad, the version of you they got to have as dad, you know what I mean? And I feel like those they're parallels, right? Like you
Mhm.
like you as a person has to grow in order for your business to grow. And then like those versions of you, like I don't know. It's just cool, man. Like it's just sorry. I feel like I'm not making a complete thought here, but like the version of you, like as you continue to develop and to grow and into who you need to be to build the business, you're also developing and growing into a better version of you and like a better dad, which is just going to continue to just, I don't know, just add more and more value to them, you know? And I love what you said about like your son seeing you come from some not so great places. So even in that realm, he's been able to see you grow out of those and be better and all of those things. And it just continues to show them like what's possible, you know? And like, that's you know, and that's like, and that what's possible. And then like, you know, it's not, I don't know, it's not this thing that you do. It's just who you are. Like you are someone who is capable of building a national brand. You are someone who's capable of being a good dad, who's capable of doing these things. And it just shows them what's possible. And I don't know, it's really, that's probably one of the coolest things that having a kid changes your whole perspective on things. Cause like, it really goes from like, okay, cool, I'm gonna build this business and make the money to like, hey, like how, not just like obviously build the business and support them, but like, how do I become a better version of me? Yes, for the business, but also for my wife, for my kids, you know, and they go together, you know?
They do 100%. It is one and the same. 100%.
Okay. Well, we're kind of getting to the end. So,
Sure.
How I always like to wrap this up, which I feel like there's so much good stuff here anyway, or already, but, what is like, if you had one thing that you like at a business owner, they were sitting down with you and you're like, hey, if you don't hear anything else, there's this one thing you could, like, I would want you to know, what would it be?
I think for me personally, and that's something I struggle with early on, is embrace the no's. That was a deal changer for me. I got told no a lot, and that can wear on anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. Like once you're out there and you're selling and you spent 8 hours one day trying to sell somebody and you get 500 no's, embrace those, man, because 501, that's a yes.
Yeah.
And once you get that little bit of momentum, that's all you need. Just keep it going and don't sit around and procrastinate. Like get out and do it. You don't have to have everything right. You don't have to have the plan detailed out. It doesn't have to be this genius idea. Just do it, man.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the being willing to, I think that's the hardest thing. I know for me that was like hearing the no's, because especially when it's like, you know how great what you do is, and you know how much it would benefit them. Like, you know all the reasons why they should be saying yes and they say no. But then there's also just a tangible like, well, that would have been nice to make that money, you know, that would have been nice to like, that like kind of still got the bills, you know?
Yeah.
So like, there's that part of it, but then it's also like, okay, hey, like, I don't know. I feel like the best, like from a sales standpoint, you get better at it, right? Because you do, like, you just handle the rejection better, right? But then I feel like as a business owner, like going through really like anything else in life, when you go through like that time under tension, like those hard moments, right? So in this case, like no's in business, like that's what builds you. That's what makes you better. That's what grows you. And I feel like I don't know that there's a way to build a business without getting a bunch of no's, honestly, at least at the beginning. Hopefully you don't get them later on, but you know, like, cause you got like, and you just have to, that's the price of admission. Like, that's just what you have to learn. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
And I love that about the not procrastinating. And that's hard because especially when you want it to be good and you want it to be perfect and polished, and it's just like the polishing the polishing comes through the execution, because you have to do it and then realize all the problems with it and all the things you need to tweak and fix and whatever. And then you tweak and fix and you innovate and you change but there's no way for you to do that unless you get started. And that's I feel like that's where everybody gets hung up, is like the start. You know what I mean? Because honestly, there's probably 20, 30 guys out there. They're like, man, I should really start like a pressure washing business. Like I like it and I'm good at it. And like I enjoy it, whatever. But like you were the 21st guy that was like, honey, I'm going to go buy it. I'm assuming a trailer or a truck, but like, honey, I'm going to go buy the truck, the trailer. Like, hey, we're starting this. You know what I mean? And like, that's the, right. And like, that's where everybody, I think, gets hung up is they don't, like everybody has a lot of great ideas, but then they don't actually like act on them, Yeah. Love that, dude. That's kind of getting to the end of the time. Thank you so much for being here. Where can people find you? Where can they find EcoBlast? Like all the things. Sure.
So you can check us out on our website, www.ecoblastsc.com, or you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram at EcoBlastSC. You can find us on Instagram, and on Facebook it is EcoBlast Pressure Washing and Exterior Cleaning is the name on there. So any of those places you can connect with us.
Awesome. Well, dude, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you for checking out the Top Shelf Show, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Hey guys, thank you so much for checking out the Top Shelf Show. We hope that you walk away feeling inspired by the stories, by the lessons that the entrepreneurs, the business owners have learned and that they shared with us in this episode. We want to congratulate you in advance on the success that you're about to have in your own business, and we cannot wait to hear from you one day and possibly have you on the show. So be sure to check out the next episode, and as always, you can reach us on all of our social media platforms here. And thank you guys. We'll see you next time.